Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. JoyNews, your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa granted bail with surety by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, while steps are underway to unseal assets declared by her. We have details for you shortly. Also, 2 students of Aidoo College face disciplinary action after a viral video showed them engaging in what authorities say amounts to violent conduct. Plus, we begin our build-up to the August 26 NPP primaries with a spotlight on Kwabena J. Japan, who believes the NPP needs a new face to break the 8. We have business, sports, world news, showbiz, all coming up this afternoon. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is @Nana Aisha. Please stay for details. The Ghana Education Service has taken immediate action following the emergence of a disturbing video showing an act of violence involving 2 students of Aidoo College. The video, which has been circulating on social media, has sparked outrage and raised concerns about the safety of students within the country's educational institutions. A student is filmed holding another from the back at the neck with the inner part of his elbow. He takes the student closer to a bunk bed and hits the powerless student's head against it. This causes an immediate swelling on the right cheek of the student and blood starts oozing. According to a statement signed by Head of Public Relations Unit Cassandra Ampofo, GES is deeply concerned and strongly condemns the barbaric act by the culprit.
With regards to the incident, we know that it happened around 30th June, early July.
Okay.
We have actually invited them to come. Information we gathered from the head is that when it happened, he quickly took action, and that is what we commended him on in the statement. And then it looks like the students that recorded decided to post, I think yesterday or 3 days ago, on one of their student platforms, and that's how come it went viral.
Right.
We have invited them anyway. We'll be meeting them in the afternoon. The school authorities, the victim, the culprits, the guys that performed the act, the ones that recorded, everybody that is involved in this issue. We have our processes in our various schools. We have our school code of conduct. If you are a first year student, when you get to the school, the very first thing that we give to you is the school code of conduct. It's even part of the admission process. We give to you at the early stage. During orientation, they are taken through the do's and don'ts and all of that. There are expectations in the school. They take them through. Occasionally in the school, with the guidance and counseling coordinators, also remind them of the school code of conduct. If when it comes to bullying, yes, we know it's been there. And so we keep reminding them that you will not do it. In the school code of conduct, individuals, now let me quickly say this, that we are almost done with the harmonized or comprehensive code of conduct for all schools.
Okay.
We have the school code of conduct, but it's individual based. So you realize that the sanctions for this particular offense in school A might be different from school B. And so we sat down and said, no, we should have one general code of conduct that will be used in all our schools. We are almost done. I know on Thursday, my Director General will lay before Council, and we will seek Council's validation and final approval, and then the schools will use it.
We can go to the school now where Samefa Kwesu, a student of Cape Coast University, is following up on the incident for us. Samefa, what have you gathered so far from the school as far as this incident is concerned?
9:40 a.m. when I got here till now, School is in session, normal academic work is ongoing, so everything is calm, except for the management who, looking through their faces, you could see that something is really wrong. So the headmaster of the school, Mr. Samuel Kofi Agudogo, earlier on refused to speak on the issues. According to him, the National Office of the GES has taken over the case, so if anything, we should be able to speak to the authorities. But a letter from him yesterday has relieved the housemaster of Quay House, where the students involved in the case are members, has relieved the housemaster, Mr. Hoffman, of his duties. And then the regional minister, Justina Merigodasan, is also here. He's been engaged by the assistant headmaster of administration, so I will engage her later in that. But I spoke to the regional PRO of GES, Rebecca Kwenu, earlier, who said the school actually had a committee who came up with a report on the whole case, and they are yet to receive a situational letter from the headmaster on the case. But she gave me some recommendations from the committee, saying that the board has suggested that they suspend the victim because he didn't report the issue as at when it happened, and he is a first-year student of the school, so he will be in the house and will come and take the end of term exams under parental escort. And then the suspect has also been suspended following these incidents. He is a final year student, so he will take his WASI exam from the Wire Corps in Accra. And the director of GES has also instructed the headmaster to take the students suspected to be involved in the case, together with their parents, to the regional GES office. So they left the school campus to the regional office earlier, and that is the situation at hand. We're trying to engage some of the students and then the teachers to know how they are feeling about the whole situation. So if some of them are reluctant to speak to us, including the teachers, because according to them, they are not allowed to speak on the whole issue. But then we'll try and engage the regional minister, and then maybe if the head would allow, we'll have some talks, and then I can actually be on it.
You heard the SMFA, she's a student of the University of Ghana, bringing us updates from the Aidoo College where this incident happened. And now former Gampa rector and renowned educationist Professor Stephen Aidoo is advocating for bullying to be made an outright dismissible offense to deter other students from engaging in the act.
It is a big menace in the schools. And to me, it is also has a very, apart from the physical effect, the psychological, and it's one of the reasons why some students are not able to make it. And I believe that it is such a serious of that we should make, GES should make a policy and hold the head teachers and head mistresses responsible that bullying is a dismissible offense. Apart from the fact that if you injure somebody, it's a criminal offense if you are more and be treated so. And unless we do so, a lot of people become victims and their future is jeopardized. This idea of, this a child play, let us, forgive them, warn them, and that is no. Nobody has the right of hurting another person just because he's younger than you. That's all that it is, happen to be younger than you. And if we don't allow it in our homes, we should not allow it in the schools. When we start punishing the head mistresses and head teachers for allowing it, because they know that it happens, they cannot say it doesn't happen. And they must be the ones to provide absolute guarantee to the victims that if you do so, you will not become a victim of even a worst case, because the students who are doing it will not be in the school. And I think that that's the policy GES should put in place.
Away from that, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is expected to unseal assets declared by former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa. She was arrested yesterday and interrogated for hours by the Special Prosecutor. Investigators from the Anti-Graft Agency also searched her residence afterwards. This follows reports she was hoarding millions of Ghana cedis plus unspecified amounts of other currencies in her house. Meanwhile, former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo is pushing strongly for assets declared by public officers to be published as prescribed by the Public Financial Management Act.
So to be able to do that, I think the law must go a little bit further because Auditor General is not God. It is the people of the Auditor General to know whether the declaration is complete or not. So there must be publication of the assets and liabilities that have been declared. Again, if you read the PFM law on asset declaration before the Constitution, it shows that within 2 weeks of declaration, the declaration must be published for Ghanaians to see. But the Constitution has watered it down.
My colleague Elton Brobe has been providing details of the Special Prosecutor's activities.
What we are learning is that the OSP uncovered what they want to describe as very significant during the search at the home of the former minister. First was the cantonment official residence, and then they took her to the Abelempe, which has now been designated a crime scene because the theft actually took place in that Abelempe residence. And after the search, which lasted several hours, what we are learning is that the OSP officers found what they want to describe as very significant. So yesterday we picked information during the interrogation at the Office of the Special Prosecutor that the former minister made some, pronouncements when she was asked about the source of the money, why it was kept in the residence and not the bank, and who owes the money. Now, we are told that she mentioned, for example, that all the sums does not belong to her, that some belong to some relations of her. And for this reason, the OSP information we picked this morning is expanding the investigation to include some close family members of the former minister. And so in the coming hours and days, they are hoping to invite the names that were mentioned by the former minister to assist in their investigation. It is instructive to note that even though the former minister was at the offices of the Special Prosecutor yesterday, together with the husband was not a person of interest as of yesterday.
Meanwhile, economist and professor of finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfrey Bachman, is calling for a broader conversation on how to build stronger financial institutions to discourage people from stashing money at home. We'll hear from Professor Bachman shortly, but first, listen to banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etwine, who says the phenomenon of stashing money at home could become widespread as a result of haircuts people suffered during the domestic debt exchange program. He spoke on PM Express last night.
Domestic debt exchange,
or whatever you call it. Those who actually had hard currency kept, they never suffer anything. They didn't suffer the haircut. So at times it's an investment opportunity. And I've always even advised people that if you have more, you have to make sure that you keep some in a solid currency where you'll be able to go in and go out. Because the environment we have been in, like Joe was saying, freezing of accounts, debt exchange, destroying people's investment by cutting it as low as 40%. Any rational human being like me, I would not just I would possibly keep some of my assets in foreign currency, whether you like it or not. Because our history tells us, forget about in the 79 or thereabout, my mom lost his 50 CDs. He couldn't go and change. So my mom told me that for me, the last place I want to go is a bank because he lost her money. And this thing has consistently been part of our setup. So it's good to have the laws, but we must keep the economy running properly so that the value of the currency will be as it is. In a country where you export,
Meanwhile, Professor Bachman says deliberate steps must be taken to strengthen the banking and financial sector to avert the challenge.
The average politician, when they get power, they will not use it for ultimate good. They will not use it to serve. They will come after you. The average African politician is afraid of a powerful domestic private sector from independence. You look at how Ghana has treated our own entrepreneurs from independence. Some had to run away. Some had to dress like women in order to escape arrest. Some died in exiles. It's not only Ghana. You can look at the story of Nigeria across Africa. I just told you, if you look at the data, more than 60% of the wealth of the African, private wealth, they find it comfortable keeping it outside. And that is why it looks a bit strange when African leaders met somewhere and they were critical of the global financial architecture that is anti-Africa. What they themselves are presiding over, how safe have they made it for Africans to even invest their wealth in the African financial system and keep it here? So much to the extent that even Africans in the diaspora and all of other places will find it safe. It's possible that from last year, demand for safe probably went up. People want to keep more money at home, and the more they want to do that, chances are that they would want to keep it in the currency that is stable. And I don't know, I'm not saying that we should sympathize with this woman, but I think this is pervasive. I think this should lead us to have a better conversation in terms of building a financial system that is safe, that everybody can trust. And it's also because we are unable to build independent institutions, okay, such that even regardless of which party is in power, if you have your money in the bank, there's some kind of protection, secrecy. I mean, because people can have access to anything that you have, and you can easily be a target. Yeah. Especially if you're a political opponent, especially if you run top. Look, there are top business people in Ghana. They are even afraid to speak up because the party, the government or the party could come after them if there's a regime change. Yeah, we have in this country where businesses rise and collapse with regimes.
Yeah. Down to your election headquarters, former General Secretary of the NPP, Kwabena Agyapong, says the party stands a better chance of winning the 2024 polls if it presents a fresh face. He will be on the ballot with 9 others, but believes he stands tall and has worked hard to earn the enviable slot of flag bearer of the governing party. Joseph Akable of our political desk has more.
Kwabena Agyapong is not new to the MPP flag bearer race. He was part of 17 aspirants who sought to lead the party into the 2008 polls.
We, the MPP, are the tradition that believes in creating a world of plenty. We must all be determined to make this country that shining example that all Africans were proud to say is on this our continent.
He only managed 9 votes, representing 0.4% of the votes cast. His membership of the party goes as far back as its early days, when he played an active role in the campaign of presidential candidates Albert Aidoo and John Agyekum Kufuor in 1992 and 1996.
I humbly submit, I, Kwabena Agyapong, offer the hope of a fresh start for Ghana. It is a matter of public record that I've always availed myself to this tradition. More importantly, for example, in the run-up to the 1992 election, under the Rawlings dictatorship, when it was life-risking to be associated with the MPP. I'm not a newcomer. I did not join our great tradition midstream after the danger abated. I have served this party right from the get-go and in many capacities. I was there when it mattered most, and also when the party was at the peak of its glory. I gathered valuable experience doing so, sitting at the feet of some of the revered leaders of our tradition, the likes of the Venerable B.J. Darocha, Stephen Kreku, Peter Alajete, Albert Aidoo, T.D. Brodements, R.R. Amponsa, Kwame Donkofojo, Alhaji Bin Sali, Roland Al-Hassan, Johnny Selby.
When the party won power in 2000, he became President John Agyekum Kufuor's press secretary. This journey has not always been smooth. Despite successfully winning the party's general secretary position in 2014, he was later suspended. This suspension has since been set aside and is back seeking to lead again. He believes the MPP needs a new face.
Our party, the MPP, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state. I want to repeat myself. Our party, the MPP, therefore, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state and expect Ghanaians to embrace them during the 2024 election. We need a new face, a pair of clean hands, a leader to reconnect with our base and earn the trust of Ghanaians.
Mr. Japan is promising a lean and all-inclusive government if given the nod.
To send a strong signal. It's not about the quantum of money you save by downsizing the government, but the moral message you send to the Ghanaian people that you are serious about what you're doing. Cut down the government pecs. In Ghana right now, it appears people enjoy government pecs more than the work that they are supposed to do.
The 61-year-old engineer and former sports broadcaster will be back on the ballot on August 26 when the Super Delegates Conference takes place.
May God help us all, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much for your attention.
Now, the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, PURC, has indicated that continuous incidents of cable and meter theft are affecting the delivery of utility services in the Keita and Anglonga district. This, coupled with the influx of fake meters installed by customers and the burning of poles, impedes the smooth operations and revenue generation of the Ghana Water Company Limited and the Electricity Company of Ghana. The Volta Regional Manager of PURC, Philip Agbezudo, made this known at a press engagement on the regulatory body's operations in the first half of 2023.
There are some districts that are fond of destroying these poles. For instance, Central Tonu, Ketu North, Ketu South. Most at times, ECG lost a lot of their poles. Now, another disturbing issue is the cable theft in Keita and Anglonga districts. In those areas, you will be surprised that in the night you think that power has gone off and not me, somebody has cut the copper cable from ECG lines. And it's something that sometimes when people call or complainers call to complain that they don't have electricity, and before you realize it was as a result of the fact that somebody has climbed the post and cut the table. It's becoming a thorn on the flesh of ECG. And then the influx of foreign meters, when you go to Ketu North, especially Georgia area, you will realize that a lot of foreign meters are being installed by individuals. And ECG, for instance, some of the meter readers have little knowledge about how they read those meters. And because of that, ECG may not be able to capture it. And it's something that is worrying the sector. And as a result of our intervention, about 30 poles were replaced. And then 8 meters were also replaced for customers who lot complain about 40 meters. 2 transformers replaced, and over 400 complaints were resolved, and our customers were happy. Customers are now abreast with the rights and responsibilities as a result of our education that we have been doing in our villages and towns. And then ECG's increased revenue mobilization, as I already said, that PURC laid a strong foundation by distributing the LI portion that talks about the need to pay your bills within 14 days.
General Secretary of the Public Sector Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress, Bernard Aidoo, has expressed worry of continuous attacks and blame on members of labor unions. He says the inefficiency and mismanagement of the country's economy by the government has worsened the plight of the Ghanaian worker, adding the direction of the anger by the members of the union onto the union's leadership is misplaced. He's urged members to be united in fighting the economic challenges together. Bernard Aidoo made the statement at the Upper West Regional Delegates Congress of the Public Sector Workers Union of Trade Union Congress in Wa.
The 11th Upper West Regional Delegates Conference of the Public Sector Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress gives members the opportunity to discuss and review the activities of the union, measure their performance in the region, and also look at the challenges with a view to finding solutions to them. It is also to elect regional officers who will man the affairs of the union in the region for the next 4 years, and also develop plans for the upcoming National Quadrennial Delegates Conference slated for December. General Secretary of the Public Sector Workers Union, Brother Bernard Aidoo, noted that the inefficient and mismanagement of the country's economy has further worsened the plight of workers. To add insult to injury, they are now being deprived of allowances that they used to earn as workers by the government. Brother Bernard Aidoo was unhappy that workers, instead of directing their anger on government for the economic woes they are wallowing in, have rather shifted the blame on the leadership of the unions. He called for unity among members of the union, stating it is the only way they can overcome the challenges they are facing.
This has also affected our salaries or our conditions of service. It has affected our purchasing power, that the prices of goods and services keep skyrocketing, but the salaries and wages we take home are not commensurate with the increases and difficulties brought on by the economy. The end result is that we are suffering as workers. Is that not it? Yes. Very much suffering. In addition to that, some allowances that we have that comes to support the salaries or wages we take home. And government is using all sorts of strategies and means to deprive us either of having the opportunity to negotiate these allowances or denying us these allowances where we have negotiated these allowances. I know that it has made most of us become so angry to the extent that instead of directing that anger to the appropriate courtesies, sometimes we end up attacking ourselves and blaming the union of even not doing what they have to do. The situation we find ourselves requires that as unions, we remain strong and more united than ever in solidarity. We are entitled to live and work without discrimination or exploitation.
Upper West Regional Chairman of the Public Sector Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress, Said Mohammed Nuruddin, enumerated some successes chalked the past 4 years.
The PSW fund has really brought very big relief to its members, especially with the members in the Upper West region. Since the inception of the loan scheme, 31 members in the region benefited from the fund, with accumulated payout of 456,000 Ghana cedis under my leadership.
There were also some solidarity messages from sister unions.
I would like to urge my brothers and sisters that the only weapon that the leaders that are with us are afraid of is one and only one, and that is unity. Brothers and sisters, in the song we always sing, our strength as unions resides in unity.
Working women.
A forest guard who went missing at Sonyain 3 weeks ago has been found. 31-year-old Vitus Yodong was found at a refuse dump with his legs tied and hands handcuffed at Nkoko Asuna in the Kwewu West municipality of the Eastern region. Speaking to Aidoo News, the victim said he was captured by some alleged illegal chainsaw operators in the Asokese Forest Reserve in Sonyain during an operation. This happened when he excused himself from among his colleagues to attend to Nature's Call on the 2nd of July 2023. He said he was detained, assaulted, and later dumped unconsciously at the Nkoko Asuna refuse dump. He was said to have been found by the driver of a Zoomline waste collection truck. Aidoo News reporter Dominic Donyina who spoke with us earlier, but will be bringing us more on this, on how the gentleman is faring. A 29-year-old man resident of Barigo in the Westman Precinct municipality of the Northeast region is seeking public support to treat a childhood leg condition that has left him virtually crippled for 24 years now.
9th of June 22nd, 1994, when Sally was born here in the community of Barigo located east of Wale Wale, he was a complete human being, full of life and a promising bouncing baby boy. His 61-year-old mother, Suguritia, remembers this day like it was yesterday. No, I didn't face any difficulty during his birth. It was a smooth delivery. He wasn't born with this condition. He was a very handsome boy, and many people used to say he looked like an Akan. But look at him now. As you know, the world is a strange place. As the fifth child, Sally's mother recounts how there was something special about his looks that made him stand out among his siblings. Sally's peasant parents were overjoyed to have him and loved his smooth growth. However, in 1999, when Sally was only 5 years old, an incident occurred right here under this tree, which has since left him almost permanently deformed for the last 24 years. He fell from a wooden bench as he was trying to run away from a bleating donkey. And we have done all we can, and yet no changes. Sally.
JoyNews Impact Makers Award winner for the Bono region, Jefferson Agbotro, has said that the future of the country depends on how children are empowered to identify the prospect in life choices they make. Speaking during a child empowerment program for selected basic school students in Sonyain, organized by Friends of Health Association, Mr. Agbotro said the project would help build the confidence of the children to sustain the development of the nation.
The future of every nation depends on the choices of the younger generation.
Your future is in your own hands. You can protect that future. You can hold that future by studying very hard.
Friends of Health Association, FOHA, led by JoyNews Impact Makers Award winner for the Bono region, Jefferson Kwesi Agbotro, is helping to change the narrative by engaging basic school students in the Sunyani municipality to build their confidence in identifying prospects in their life choices. Students from the Norbert Educational Complex at Yaoima and Assemblies of God schools in Sunyani were exposed to the causes and effects of drug abuse and teenage pregnancies, mentorship, career guidance, and menstrual hygiene education, among others.
We are telling them to ensure that they do not become victims of teenage pregnancy, victims of drug abuse, they do not become victims of child marriage. And when we have these young ones going to school, it means that they are going to become productive, they are going to work, and their dependency ratio or unemployment rate by extension in years to come is going to reduce. So I was motivating and empowering them that it's possible. The future is full of possibility, and they just have to stay focused until they get there to make greater impact in their generation.
Some of the teachers said the empowerment drive deserve commendations.
I would like to acknowledge him for his boldness, also his know-how about how children should position themselves in doing things.
We're still live on JoyNews Today. We're coming to you from our studios in Kokomlimle. We are on the fan of our streets. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll bring you the very latest coming from the world of business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has expressed concern about individuals hoarding huge amounts of foreign currencies in their homes. The governor was asked about the $1 million and 300,000 euros kept in the home of the former Water, Resources and Sanitation Minister, Cecilia Dapa. At a press briefing, Dr. Addison said the central bank was taking measures to deal with liquidity outside banks.
We have improved the use of our liquidity management instruments. So you will see that the Bank of Ghana open market operations have also been increased. I mean, there's a seasonal part of that also. When we purchase cocoa with CDs. That goes to augment the amount of CDs out there. When we purchase gold, and you know we are purchasing quite a bit of gold. When we purchase gold, we add to the amount of CDs out there. The good thing is that we have the foreign exchange backing for all the CDs that we use in purchasing the gold. And therefore, it puts the bank in a very strong position to sort of sterilize the impact of, CDs that are put out there because of gold. So you're right, and this is an area where the bank is, taking a very close look at, and the liquidity operations of Dr. Zachary, liquidity operations, which we have been talking about, obviously is going to be a major priority for the rest of the year. Yes, we are all worried. But really, this is a matter that is still unfolding and involving the court, so there's not much that one can say.
Now, professionals in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM, and other technical vocations are often male-dominated. This trend tends to promote gender stereotypes, widen the gender wage gap, and limit workforce diversity. The World University Service of Canada has launched a mentorship scheme to empower young women pursue careers and participate in non-traditional vocational education and skills training. Clinton Yabua has more in the following report.
Non-traditional vocation education and skills training denotes industries and occupations deemed male-dominated. These industries are often in the fields of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, as well as construction, automotive, and other technical professions. The trend has the tendency to fuel gender disparities. The World University Service of Canada, through the Innovation in Non-Traditional Vocational Education and Skills Training, INVEST, has launched the Somimu Mentorship Program, promoting gender equality and economic empowerment. The Somimu Mentorship Program seeks to match young women participating in male-dominated TVET sectors with technical professionals in these sectors. The mentorship program will accelerate personal and professional development of mentors and mentees. Public Engagement and Advocacy Advisor of INVEST, Juliana Ohenewa Amwakuchum, indicated the training will allow participants to acquire market-driven and market-relevant skills.
And what we're doing with the mentorship is to create that platform for mentors and mentees to grow together. We realize that as we sensitize, create awareness, and educate the public to consider women who are interested in male-dominated spaces, we don't want to leave them hanging just after the training. Women can actually do things, careers, trades that men are currently doing. And so we should not limit them to the traditionally female-dominated trade areas, Provided the person is interested, is passionate about what they want to do, everybody is supposed to support that girl to acquire market demand-driven and market-relevant skills, to have skills that are mainly male-dominated. We think that we further have to go the next level where we would match them with seasoned and accomplished mentors in the space already.
And that's all in business for now. Sports coming up next. Do stay tuned.
Let's do sports now on JoyNews Today with me, Muftau Nabila. Let's talk Kumasi Asante Kotoko now, and they have a new coach in charge. Dr. Prosper Nate Ogum makes a return to lead the technical affairs of the Porcupine Warriors, having left his job in July last year. Former Black Stars defender John Pencil has called on the leadership of the club to throw their weight behind the former Dwarfs coach to be able to secure the results the supporters are seeking for.
I think Ogum is doing so well. He started from Wafa. We all saw what he did. Came to Kotoko. He won the league, and he built a very good structure over there with his players. Also with his philosophy and his understanding of the game. I think the supporters were behind him. The players were behind him. That's why I always said never close doors, because he left the door open for him that he can come in anytime. So now the time has come for him to come again. You know, he has a history with the club, very good one. But repeating history sometimes is difficult. But I think he's the coach with his words, which he believes in his ability. And we all know that when it comes to coaching, he's doing very, very well. And I have full confidence that, I mean, no coach will go for a job that is not ready for. I believe Coach Ogum is ready to go for the tasks that are ahead, because he knew Kotoko is Kotoko. Kotoko is a demanding club, so when you're going, you prepare, which he has that zeal to go and pick up that word. So as a coach, I wish him all the best, and then I believe he can do it well. But like I said, I mean, he's an example to a lot of coaches, a lot of people, that you always leave the door open. So when you go, the door will open for you to come back again.
Now, the bit as well about what creates a solid environment for a coach to work. You have been.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com, and also at 2 p.m. when my colleague Lieutenant Ato comes your way with sports today.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews Today. The Minister for Tourism, Art and Culture has stated that the country's tourism space is full of huge opportunities for investments. Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal made these remarks when he led an official delegation to host the mayor of Houston at the Kempinski Hotel in Accra. The mayor is leading a delegation to the country on a trade and investment drive.
Here, quite frankly, signifies the importance. Mr. Minister, you and I have talked about how can we build on the relationship of tourism, and you've asked me to consider being the ambassador for tourism, not just, I mean, for the city of Houston and beyond, to encourage Americans and others to come to Ghana. And I will tell you, just based on what I have already seen, I'm already on social media telling them they need to come. And so I fully accept that role. I'm honored to accept that role. And what I can say, the top 4 cities in the United States, the top 4, are now governed in terms of their mayor's position by African Americans. New York, Eric Adams. In Los Angeles, Karen Bass. In Chicago, Brandon Johnson. And of course, in the city of Houston, myself. So the top 4 cities in terms of population, where there is significant Africans in their respective cities. We certainly, I think, have a responsibility to do everything we can to encourage not only people to come to Ghana as tourists, but also to encourage those who do business in our city to do business in Ghana, to invest in Ghana.
The mayor has graciously accepted to be the face of tourism in the United States for Ghana. What that means is that he's going to drive tourism and development to this country. As of now, it's an average of 120,000 to 130,000 tourists from the US every year. We want to double that in the next 2 years. With the support of the mayor and his team, we would do that. Last year, US accounted for 37% of all tourists coming to Ghana, 37 being the highest. And we are hoping that with the mayor and his team's assistance, this figure will double in 2 years. We are very grateful for that. What Africa and Ghana needs now is creating jobs for our young people. Yeah. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, 3 out of every 10 jobs over the next decade will be created from the tourism sector. That means that to create jobs for Africa's young people, 65% of them are below the age of 25 years. We need to invest a lot in tourism. Right? So we want you to support us, win-win partnership to create the jobs.
Away from that, rapper Patapaa has revealed his desire to have a song with American rapper Rick Ross. In an interview with Andy Dusty on Daybreak Hits, he shared that the one international act he would like to feature is Rick Ross because of his style and humility.
Which international artist would you love to feature?
International? Oh, me Ghana, they me sure me future be our Ghana.
That's why he's asking which international artist.
I think say me Rick Ross or you good. Yeah, because Mira US no say Rick Ross. Kasa me mani me boss no me kwɛ no on the ochem ni fi ona go hu ni pa no say because you be
you went to meet Rick Ross.
Or you be a simple on put it on pentally show on one table nine is in the in a kakabi in a table nine kakabi but ubokono simple I'm gonna say pace on shut up near fundum you see and I mean who say sana artist na waka celebrate ya and yen shisha hu and ya di bia eye gaga bia like you focus on what you are doing and you get money to take care of your family.
Well, on that note, we end Showbiz here on JoyNews Today. There's more Showbiz news in our subsequent bulletins. Aisha, who would you like to collaborate with in news?
Kofi Kinata.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic.
That's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. We enjoy the rest of our programs. You know.